Alright, well, let's begin tonight's segment, shall we? Because I think it's impacted how I want to go forward with Wuchang. Which, sadly, might be, not at all.
Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys!
So, Wuchang, Fallen Feather, as you guys know by now, because you've seen me play it. Get it, 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 yeah, girl, twerk it back, is a Souls-like, I believe, set in China. Your titular character, girly pop over there, goes around fighting monsters and trying to find the source of a disease called the Feathering to find her sister. Now, the game has received some mostly decent reviews up until now. The game has an interesting playstyle, it's very forgiving, but it still has a decent challenge. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and has amazing level design. Hubby has told me that it's comparable to the OG Dark Souls. But, and this is a big one, they just released patch 1.5, which did some good stuff. It added some iframes when you get knocked down, you have to get back up. It shortened healing animations, a bunch of stuff, right? Because, like, the game had been having some issues on PC, as tends to happen, of course. But then, they also did something that, for me, was kind of unprecedented. Added some Wuchang voice to complete the story, and added some NPC dialogues. And then they added dialogues for NPCs to complete some plots. This sounds pretty innocuous, right? Like, oh, okay, you're adding the NPC dialogue, that's great and all. But it turns out that they have changed their game's plot in such a way that they've censored themselves. Now, when I first heard that Wuchang has had censoring issues, I immediately assumed it was the boobalicious outfits. Cause, like, yeah, we've seen some of them. I immediately assumed, oh, well, we lost some tits, but we haven't lost some tits. What we have lost is story. So we're gonna watch a few videos about it, because the thing that they have changed, they changed it because, and I'm not joking, Chinese players complained that Wuchang could kill some historical figures of China's past. Keep in mind, the entirety of this game is a work of fiction, but there were some bosses that were people in the Ming Dynasty, and a very loud and annoying minority, it seems, of Chinese players didn't like that you killed them. So they made it so if you defeat the boss, they don't die. They just sit there, exhausted. And then they talk to you like, oh, that was just a trial, which it doesn't sound that bad, but apparently doing shit like that completely destroys the story. The story has a lot of Bloodborne elements, crazy monsters, crazy people, like stopping the resurrection of someone who should not be resurrected that now just sits there and they're fine. And the reason they did it is, allegedly, because Chinese players complain. Now, I don't know about you, but the idea of fucking up my game's story because a few people fucking complained is baffling to me. But let's go into some more details because I'm learning on this on the fly with you guys. This is from IGN. What's going on with the Wuchang Fallen Feathers patch 1.5? Let's listen to the breakdown.
1.5 is here, and oh boy, it's a weird one.
Raiden just said, doesn't matter, the CCP is the one who got pissed. It's a change, you're no longer able to sell the game. No, the CCP didn't get pissed. At all. The CCP said nothing. This was the devs doing this to themselves. I looked into it, because I like my research. Believe it or not, most games that censor things because China don't actually censor things because the CCP said anything. They do it just in case. The devs did this to themselves because they were afraid that people in China would not buy their game, which is kind of fucking silly because the game is Chinese. China's censorship laws are so fucking vague that a lot of devs would rather not fuck around, and so they preemptively fucking chop off their own balls. It's because they're afraid that if they piss off Chinese players, and it was only like a hyper nationalistic group that got mad about this, by the way. It wasn't even like the broad player base, so like this isn't the China problem, this is a specific subset of people problem. One like super nationalist group of people got super fucking pissed that you could kill off characters in the Ming Dynasty, which at that point in the story had been over, apparently. And they got kind of so afraid that they fucking nuked their story entirely just so they could, like, make sure to sell as many copies as possible. But now they've pissed people off, so let's keep watching.
What does any of that mean? Well, thanks to Twitter user ManFightDragon,
we have this thread, by the way, we're gonna go over it.
Starts to come to view. LOL Wuchang patch notes say they optimize the exhaustion animation for certain NPCs, and what they mean is they made it so that you can no longer kill any historically significant bosses.
Oh, by the
or
way,
NPCs,
this
and
historically significant thing, this is the reason why Mao Mao, whenever you watch the anime, has a fat fucking disclaimer at the beginning that all of the characters in the story are fictional and they're by no way related to, in any way, shape, or form to any actual historical figures. The reason they did that was because of shit like this. Well, Apothecary Diaries, sorry, I just call it Mao Mao because she's cute, but like, Apothecary Diaries does this for the same reason. They have to add a fat fucking disclaimer that says, fictional! This is fictional! They could have done that. They could have just done that. I don't know why they didn't. Well, no, I know why, because the company's Chinese. Yeah, like, you kill it, right? This is, but after this patch, instead of fucking exploding into feathers,
Your trials are far from over.
your trial's done. And before, he just died. Just exploded into feathers, which is what's supposed to happen with big bosses. Goodbye.
After
Deleted.
resting at the shrine, he moves there and just stays praying with a few other lines of dialogue.
Foolish ambitions to rest.
So before these bosses that had pretty decent story significance and they needed to die so the story could progress and the plot would make sense, apparently, now they just come back? That's pussy shit. Yeah, a little bit. Completely pussy shit.
Not only that, but they've now made it so that the typically weak farmer NPCs that would typically
Yeah,
cower
these
away
that
when
normally
you
get
approach
up and
them
attack you,
would
they don't attack you
occasionally throw
anymore.
rocks at you, are no longer
You can't
killed.
even fucking kill them.
Also claims that Chapter 4 is insanely easy now because 50% of the enemies are non-hostile during the rebellion outbreak, and it involves some many negative reviews for Wuchang on Steam.
It
Basically,
was
what
as
happened is-
usual. Fucking drum roll, please. Chinese players. Whenever a
But there are
game
many-
like becomes like significantly less interesting, especially like on the gacha front, it's because Chinese players complained. And in this case, it wasn't even that many people, but it was people who were loud enough for the devs to get afraid and fucking cuck themselves.
Now, I'm no
And,
expert on
like,
Chinese
here's the
history.
thing, right? It's not even Chinese history. It's a work of fiction. But I guess they should have probably added the disclaimer that it was a work of fiction before they fucking made the game. I don't know why they didn't just add that disclaimer that these are fictional and just change a letter, right? Change a letter or two in the name or something and that's it. That would have fucking fixed the entire problem. So if you've ever wondered why there's a fucking disclaimer, for example, in Persona games that says, this place is a work of fiction, you do know that, right? If you've ever wondered, it's because of people like this. It's because of people like this that get fucking butthurt over you fucking remotely mentioning people that they like in a negative light.
The game takes place in 1600s China at the end of the Ming Dynasty.
The
last
Ming Dynasty's
ruled
over
the
by
Han
this point in the
Chinese,
game, by
which
the
was
way. Like, so this
overthrown
should
by
not
the
matter.
Manchurians, who then established the Qing Dynasty. But Manchurians are mysteriously nowhere to be found in Wuchang. In fact, all of the real-life historical figures that Wuchang could fight and kill are Han Chinese from the Ming Dynasty. This has led to criticism over the game's treatment of its main characters, leading to a large outpouring of negative reviews. On top of reviews that also criticize the PC version for performance
Oh yeah,
problems
most of the bad
and a few
reviews
other
before were about the performance because the PC version wasn't great. Now though, they even make you agree that the characters are fictional. If you're like, oh, this isn't fiction, they don't let you play the game.
I see. Everything that happens from here on in is real. Is that your cognition of this? Then unfortunately, I cannot allow you to partake of this game.
which has now caused another group of players to respond angrily due to the censorship that this patch now adds in.
And this isn't
Personally,
even censorship, this is self-cucking. This is the devs seeing people complaining, and instead of being like, well, don't buy it, bitch, this is them fucking with their own art to sell more copies of the game. Like, their optimization changes were great, but like everything else is a butt.
Hey, you missed, pal.
Look at what happens now. Before, a lot of characters were on site with you, and you can just like kill them, right? Now though, they can even help you kill enemies. They went from being enemies that you could fight to people who could fight with you. If that had been the original intention, I would have not cared at all. But like, they used to be hostile enemies. This one, it used to be an enemy, right? It used to attack you, it was on site, as most things in Souls games tend to be. And now, it's just an ally. You can't even attack them. It just follows you around and kills things for you. Like, they nerfed the game difficulty-wise, story-wise, and then they just added some changes that make no sense. Why? I don't know. This is pre-patch. Everything attacked you. Everyone was on site. Pretty normal for a Souls-like, you know? Everything came for your wig. I'm gonna fucking just put this at 2x speed. Everything was out to get you. Right? And that's the point, right? You're supposed to get through like the area to get to the boss, beat it, and advance the story. And then this is what happened after the patch. You can literally just run. Not only run, they fight for you as well, see? All of these enemies that used to be enemies now fight for you. You can't attack them. So they changed their core mechanics of the game just to fucking please a few people. Keep in mind, there's a bunch of stuff in this game that the CCP wouldn't like anyway. They don't like corpses. They don't like anything anything remotely like spiritual or mythological. They don't like gore, and this game has a lot of that. So they literally just made this change to themselves. The CCP didn't say anything. Now let's read the thread that explained the issue. This is by McDonald, who I think is a really big Souls games fan, and he was a huge fan of Wuchang all the way up to like its release. So, the thread says, looks like the latest update to Wuchang, which makes dodging way easier and healing way faster, also sadly censors the game's story a bit. A historically significant character no longer dies, but runs away happily ever after, and you can no longer kill innocent farmer enemies. LOL, Wuchang patch notes say they optimized the exhaustion animation for certain NPCs, and what they mean is that they made it so you can no longer kill any historically significant bosses or NPCs, and instead they just get exhausted and relax after the fight and talk to you, LMAO. Like, actual censorship due to pressure from Chinese players, not the CCP, who are upset about being able to kill historically significant characters from the end of the Ming Dynasty. Crazy to see it. So this is what we've seen so far, right? Is that Chinese players got butthurt that you could kill some actual historically significant figures, which they should have just made different ones. And they complained loudly. So players are reporting that the pray gesture has been removed that you previously learned from the Portuguese and Christian character in game. That's another thing, right? There was a prayer gesture that you could get from a foreigner in the game, later on in the game, that was like prayer, like Western prayer. Got rid of it. Got rid of it so not to upset the Chinese players. Which is really silly because you're selling this game globally. If anything, all you've done is put off any fucking Christian person that might have been like, oh, that's a cool reference to fucking missionaries coming to China, you know? Oh wow, the entirety of Chapter 4 is now insanely easy because 50% of the enemies are now non-hostile.
Assassin's Creed 3 has an alt history DLC where you have killed a George Washington who decided to become a tyrant, which George Washington would probably approve of.
Yeah, and what did Americans say to that? What did Americans say to that? Ooh boy, that's some cool shit, beach. Americans fucking love that DLC. They were like, yeah, that would happen. King George, King Washington, King... We thought it went hard as fuck. Chinese players are fucking babies. Like, what the hell? I could not imagine being that fragile that stuff that happened in the past that you used as inspiration to make a video game that is, you know, fictional would upset me this much. Like, if people fucking made Benito Juarez riding a fucking alligator in Tenochtitlan and fucking summoning Tlaloc to fucking step on the Spanish colonizers, I would think that would go hard as fuck. They even added new voiceover dialogue for the protagonist after you kill, quote-unquote exhaust, certain historical bosses. She says, I will continue your legacy. LMAO, they literally ruined the entire point of the game's plot about impermanence. Amazing. I think that a big point of the plot is to learn to let go of things, and this completely kills that. It shoots that in the foot. Like, the entire plot of the game is about the Ming Dynasty coming to an end, and the folly of refusing to let it end, and the Protag sister dying, and the folly of refusing to accept her death. They have been hinting that her sister is dead, so I don't see this as a spoiler. They do this mess, and now I don't even know what. So now the story in Wuchang Fallen Feathers kind of makes no sense, because everybody who was supposed to have disappeared so a new dynasty could begin is still alive. One of the most difficult and epic boss fights just now ends with the boss no longer dying, but instead saying it was all a trial, and actually the path you're on is good. Ha ha ha, holy wow. So like, the NPCs who were like trying to teach the player about how it's good to let go and let new things fucking start. Nope, doesn't matter. Characters are not gonna die. Cop out backpedal, they're not gonna backpedal on this. Cause like, here's the thing. China does have a lot of people, it has a lot of players, and they're genuinely terrified that Chinese players won't play their game, which is stupid because they were already playing their game. All posts of these changes on the official subreddit are being deleted by mods, so we're doing that. They have to lock the replies on their posts because people are asking why they made these insane changes. Steam forums are full of Chinese players laughing at the pathetic attempts to please no one. Because keep in mind, it wasn't all Chinese players. It was just a small group. Liu Wangzhu just stands around exhausted after the fight now, no dialogue. By the way, it's not the Chinese government that forced these changes. Wuchang is quite pro-government. So it's to please fringe groups of nationalists. I really don't understand the details, sadly. And after you defeat the Dragon Emperor, they added an interaction prompt with him at his concert to say, it's okay, he's only sleeping. Amazing. So, like, the previous emperor that needs to, like, accept that his fucking dynasty is over so a new one can begin, he's not dead, he's just sleeping. So now the story is worthless. For those asking why we don't just release a censored version just for Chinese market, this game isn't even released in China. It probably won't even be released there because of gore and violence. It can only be played by great import in China. There's no Chinese SKUA at all. Wait, is that true? Because if that's the case, then they fucking destroyed their game to try and get a license to sell the game in China. Which is kind of stupid. You're a Chinese studio, just release it in China. People got mad that you can't kill the late-stage Ming Dynasty Dragon Emperor in-game, but he was literally dead at this point in history. You kill a horrific zombie version of him to stop his resurrection. Anyone quote-unquote offended by this, that is wild, and having him survive now ruins the plot. Apparently a lot of this stuff fucks with the plot of the game completely. If they don't have an official license to sell the game in China, which this is alleged, we don't know if this is actually true, if they don't have an actual license to sell this game in China, that explains what they did perfectly. It was to get the bag! It was for more money! They fucking destroyed their story to sell some more copies. I want to read some Steam reviews. Let's see what players think. Improving the game's performance is welcoming, but this must be the first time I've ever heard of a story plot change post-release. This is unprecedented. Most devs don't do this. You're fucking with your art for maybe the chance to sell a few more copies, and I find that to be absolutely abhorrent. A famous person once said, "Those who seek to please all will please none."
Sun Tzu said that, and I'd say he knows a little more about fighting than you do, pal.
Like, that is true. This is very, very people-pleasy, and the only thing they're gonna manage to do is alienate Western audiences. And even normal Chinese players who did not give a shit about this, who are just, like, enjoying their game. Patch 1.5 added censorship and changed story bits that don't make any sense to comfort fragile Chinese nationalists. No chill. Would not recommend until devs fix this, or the global players find a way to revert this themselves. Cough, cough, localization -1, cough, cough. That's the thing, right? These, like, hyper-nationalistic people who bitch, they wouldn't play the game. It's like how PETA would never play Mario Kart, but they bitch about the cow. I'm officially putting down Wuchang over this, because I think that this is ridiculous. And I'm not gonna recommend it to people, even though I like Souls-like games. My opinion on this whole situation is, if you are willing to destroy your art for money, and for what other people think, I'm not gonna play your shit. I was loving the game so far, but seeing the fact that the devs are willing to go as far as to destroy their own story for a bunch of complainers, no. You don't deserve players. You're not making art, you just want to get the bag. If this had been the CCP forcing the issue, I would have been a bit more lenient. But, no. This was the devs doing this themselves. And this is another example, of why physical media is so important. Physical media needs to fucking persevere, because without it, people would never be able to play the original version of the game. Meanwhile, in the States...
For time and the world do not stand still. Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future.
I said, are certain to miss the future.
Oh no, I missed that.
Prime Minister Castro, this missile crisis was the last straw. We almost blew ourselves up. Now, we invited you here today...
In good faith.
In good faith. To sort this thing out.
And why is he here? He lost.
As I always say, forgive your enemies, but remember their names. Now, gentlemen...
So I'm really bad at US presidents. Which ones are these? I know who Castro is, obviously. I saw Nixon. Yeah, Kennedy. We have Kennedy, we have Nixon, and we have fucking Castro in the same room. Did this happen? No.
As I like to think, in the long history of the world, that there are only a few generations.
Sounds like someone breaking in.
It's just a storm, Dick. Sit down.
This did not happen IRL. This actually, my chat, this happened IRL, the game, a zombie.
Zombies. Gentlemen, at times like these, our capacity
Meanwhile, in
to retaliate
America.
must be and has to be massive to deter all forms of aggression.
Meanwhile, America.
Lock and load.
And what did Americans do? Fuck yeah! Based on a true story.
Viva la revolución.
Any last words?
Castro, güey, no mames. And like, this is the type of shit that you should have. You should make fun of everyone and everything, because when you make fun of everyone and everything, people develop a thick skin and they actually have a sense of humor. When you cater to everyone, when you try to not offend anyone, someone's gonna get offended when you breathe.
Yes, Jack.
any superlative words of inspiration for our humble troops.
Jesus,
Do not
Nixon.
pray for easy lives, my friends. Pray to be.
I like how the one that has the most swagger is fucking Castro.
This is how World War II ended.
I need to catch up on my human history. Thank you for the super chat, Saw. Back when Ubisoft wasn't reviled. Eagle!
The story of America was not the one you knew.
Oh, shit.
Revealing a nation born not of courage and of brotherhood, but of greed.
I actually know most of American history.
Power. Commanded not by a leader.
Thanks so much for the follow!
But by the hand of a possessed tyrant. A constitution built atop the blood.
Why is this going so hard though? Is that an eagle on his crown? Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of parody Lily wants. That's the type of out history that makes me fucking feral. Give George Washington a crown with a fucking eagle on the top, baby. Make fun of everything and everyone because that's how you get the best content.
I have fed only by war and death. One crown.
Oh?
One ruler.
My? That's what Trump wants to be. Please tell me that you fight on the pyramid. Please. Why is that kind of low-key super drippy though? Like, why does this go so hard though? Look at it. Did any American get mad at this? No? In fact, I'm pretty sure that people were stoked about this. Like, this seems like the type of thing that people loved.
Stop, King.
No one got mad at this, did they? In conclusion, changing your artwork for the sake of a few people who complained, who might not even play the game, mind you, because most people, this is like a funny thing, right? Things, if you guys are new to the internet, which I can't imagine you would be at this point, people who usually bitch the hardest about shit like this are people who never wanted to play the game in the first place. I'm not joking. That's why when people bitch at you about these things, you have to ignore them. Changing your art to please those people, it just makes you seem like a pussy in all honesty. Like, this dev team has lost respect for me completely. I genuinely hope that they change this. They either roll it back, or they make some way to go back to the previous patch, or hell, even just have a different version of the game in China if you want. But punishing the rest of the global audience who is enjoying this game, was enjoying this game's story, doesn't feel like the right move to me. I'm personally not going to play Wuchang anymore, and if I do play it, I'm going to play physical offline because I want to play this game the way that the devs originally intended for it to be played. Not some watered down, cucked version just to not piss off like fucking a bunch of people. It's a shame.
We'd be here for hours if we went over all the ways Japan portrays their historical figures, and even China's historical figures, like with Dynasty Warriors.
I think you should be allowed to parody these things, honestly. I'm pretty sure that, like, there's at least one game that all Japanese historical figures become waifus. I'm sure of it. And does Japan care? No, because they know it's parody. When you make a piece of media, you make a story, you make a movie, a TV show, radio show, video game, whatever, and you have, like, an intention, you should stick to that. You should never feel the need to go back and retroactively change your story because of what other people say. Doing that shows a lack of spine that is almost comical. Like, they ripped out their own backbone here. So I genuinely think that Wuchang needs to roll this change back. Just deal with the backlash like the rest of us people on the internet do. If some people don't like your game, dude, it's fine. Like, you don't have to please everybody. The only thing you've managed to do is punish the rest of your global player base because of what a few people think. And I want to know what you guys think. Would you still give Wuchang a shot? What do you think about games going back and fucking with their plot retroactively? Let me know in the comments. Honestly, I do think that it's an interesting discussion to have. And this is why physical media is important. If you have a physical copy of the game, will you keep playing it or not? Let me know. Fight your demons. That's why YouTube comments are there, baby. Also, remember, Plushie's still available until August 28th. And if you need some energy to combat the actual fucking Chinese zombie that you're supposed to actually, you know, gank because the OG game said so, go get some gamer subs. Use code KINKIMATION for 10% off, baby. I have to go kill it. Wait, what, dog?